everybody will stand, we'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting of the City of Greensburg Redevelopment Commission is called to order. At this time, if everyone would please silence their electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. First item on the agenda, roll call. Judy, would you conduct roll call, please?
Dr. David White.
Present.
Darren Burkhart.
Here.
Ken Dorich. Jamie Humphrey. Darrell Poling.
Here.
Mark Bauer.
Thank you. Next item is approval of minutes. We've received a copy of the minutes of last month's meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If there are not any corrections to the minutes, they stand approved as presented. Next item on the agenda under old business is Mr. Bob Lindgren from Lee and Associates about an RDC property marketing program. Mr. Lindgren, please.
Thank you, Dr. Weigel. We have with us, and the mayor has a signature copy, the listing contract that was discussed in our original appearance here. The updated contract has changes only to the dates to make it current versus where it was, and the addition of information regarding value on the property. And we look forward to the opportunity to go to work for the town and the Redevelopment Commission and seeing if we can be successful in marketing these properties and generating some additional activity for the benefit of the community. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Length of the contract again?
6 months. Goes from June 15th to December 15th.
4 parcels?
There are 4 parcels of 1.5, 1.7, 4.5, and 12.1 acres, all located on I earned this gray hair. Veterans Way. I was afraid I was getting ready to mistake what the road was.
I'd entertain a motion that we enter in an agreement. with Lee. Thank you, Ken. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Darren. Any other discussion? Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
We thank you very much for your time and attention and look forward to the next 6 months of interaction. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item, Mr. May, City Engineer.
Good evening. The first item is Resolution 2023-06 to amend the Economic Development Plan. The purpose of that amendment is to update your project list. Chris had provided a schedule of events necessary to make this happen, and you had seen the resolution. It had been emailed to you previously, and David has a copy suitable for his signature. Chris, I'll let you add whatever you think is necessary.
I would note that I went back and I reviewed the current statutes to make sure that there was no substantial changes. I also went back and found a timeline that I had prepared back in 2014, the last time we, 2013, 2014 time period, the last time we had modified the economic plan. The only thing that we had previously kind of discussed is whether or not it needs to formally go before council. There is no statutory requirement that it go before council. Previously, we had done so simply as a kind of informative type of endeavor, but it's not actually statutorily required. We had also discussed the public hearing. That public hearing is held actually at the end of the amendment process, so it would be at your next meeting. So time-wise, we should be very within the confines. If you approve your resolution tonight that does the amendment, including the new plan, it can go in front of the plan commission next week, and then should be able to have public hearing held at your July meeting, and then ultimately approved thereafter. I also utilized the prior version of the resolution and then updated it accordingly. So it is a very similar item to what we did previously, and was successful and has not been challenged or otherwise told me I did it wrong. So that's where you're at.
Chris, is there any notice requirement for the plan commission to review?
Not that I was able to.
Okay, so
the
they're
only
good.
notice requirement comes to the public hearing.
Okay. So it will be on their agenda. If you pass the resolution, it will be on their agenda next week.
And I would note that this is part of the time-saving effort that the city had originally hoped to gain in moving your meeting to this week and their meeting to the second week.
And the calendar smiled on you because you're meeting this month before planning commission.
Yes, so I think it works out. I think it works out well.
I think even though it's not required, it would be a good idea to take it to the council, just to keep them in the loop as we did the last time.
One other maybe point of clarification. So in the exhibit to the resolution, there is a list of projects. That is the current complete list that has been discussed here for a couple of meetings. Assuming you adopt this resolution.
Questions? I entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Daryl. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Darren. Any other discussion about the resolution? If not, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next item, update on residential development project.
The residential project has taken a kind of interesting turn. The planning director yesterday received an email requesting that the planning commission consideration of the primary plat be withdrawn from their agenda. So beyond that, I don't know what it means, and we'll look into that.
Can you say that again? They are asking that it be withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay. Any idea? Do you think that maybe it just wasn't complete, or?
They simply asked to have it withdrawn, so didn't expand beyond that.
Supposed to go before planning commission next week.
For primary plat approval.
I will note that I had a very productive conversation with Greg Wilson, who is counsel for the developer, late last week regarding the construction mortgage and language in therein and proceeding forward. I did not get any indication from him that there was anything amiss.
Next item, redevelopment commission plan list.
Yes, this is really a rehash of item one. As I had said, the resolution you all just adopted had the revised plan list that you have discussed for several meetings. And by taking care of the resolution, I believe you have moved that towards conclusion.
How about an update on the multi-use path over State Road 3?
So in your previous meeting, you all selected American Structure Point to perform a feasibility study for a multi-use path from Veterans Way to the 4th Street North Park neighborhood. They have submitted a proposed agreement for professional engineering services. The agreement is in compliance with what they told you in their proposal. And I think Chris may have looked at the form of agreement.
I did. I reviewed both contracts that were submitted. They are substantially identical in term, other than the specifics that are listed in the appendix, but are generally standardized contracts that I would see. This is pretty standardized language. I will say that both contracts had favorable terms in terms of alternative dispute resolution, as well as an opportunity to cure any default, which I think are both important types of provisions to be in these types of contracts. I didn't find them to be outlandish or otherwise amiss. I had no issue with the language that they used. And I'm happy to answer any questions about them that you may have.
So the terms of the proposed agreement is they will start work upon receiving a written notice to proceed. Assuming that you would like and that you act favorably on these agreements, I would be happy on your behalf to issue a written notice to proceed if you execute the agreement.
Yeah, the numbers in it, that's the numbers.
That they presented last month. Is there a motion to approve these two contracts? Thank you, Ken. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Darren. Any further discussion on these? If not, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, one question. What were the length of those? Once they get to notice proceed, was it about a couple months?
I think the multi-use path had 30 days for the red flag investigation and another 60 days for the feasibility study. I think Broadway, and I may have these backwards, one of them was like a month longer than the other.
Should be looking for something in a couple months.
Late summer, early fall.
We're supposed to, moving on to the next item under new business, we were supposed to have a representative from Reedy Financial Group here about our TIF pass-through resolution. We paid more than 50% of our funds to meet financial obligations, so we have to send letters to the other taxing units within the city. And Reedy's going to get those to the other groups by the June 15th deadline. Do I, anything need to add, or?
Did, and
Approve that resolution?
Yeah, did they send that to you, the resolution? Because I was under the impression they had, but Ron says he didn't have
I
it.
had never seen it.
Okay.
I don't remember getting it.
I would recommend that you approve it with conditionally that allows Dr. Weigel to sign it on your behalf. And then once I get a copy of it, I'll be sure you get it. Chris can review it, Reedy can talk us through it, but then that way he can sign it on behalf of the board, and then they can proceed with the letters.
The
commonly referred to June 15th letter is time sensitive. They have to be to the overlapping tax districts by that date. And this is something you've done every year.
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that's working. This is annual common practice.
Right. Statutory deadline, so. Entertain a motion for that conditional
So
approval.
moved.
Thank you, Darren. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Ken. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Our last item on the agenda is approval of claims. We have 6 or 8 claims. We have our final payments for Pirate Park totaling, it's $145,500. Then we have an invoice from Reedy, invoice from Stephen Legal, from Judith Kirk Secretarial Services, and then 5 of the small from Greensburg Municipal Water and Wastewater. Our totals claims this month are $147,784.88. I'd entertain a motion to pay these claims.
So moved.
Thank you, Darrell. Is there a second? Thank you, Ken. Any discussion on that?
That's our last payment on Pirate Park.
Yes. Yeah, from what we committed 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. That takes us to the end of our agenda. Our next meeting will be in 5 weeks on Thursday, July 6th at 7:00 p.m. right here. Nothing further to discuss. We'll adjourn at 7:19 p.m. Thank you all.